Good. Welcome to the Snowy Valleys Council ordinary meeting, 25th of October. I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners. We have apologies and leave of absence. We have a leave of absence for Councillor Wright, Councillor Isselman, Councillor Pritchard. Someone move those? Councillor Cross, Councillor Ham, all in favour? Carried. Declarations of pecuniary interest. No? There's no public forum. At this stage, I'd like to welcome Phil Stone to Council.
That's just me.
Phil is the Acting Director of Strategy, Community and Development for the next few months. So welcome aboard. Thank you. Confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting, 27th of September. Thank you, Councillor Lara. Councillor Hand. Nothing arising, no changes. Put the motion, all in favour of accepting those minutes. Carried. There's no correspondence. Mayoral minutes, page 25. Request to attend Local Government New South Wales Mayor's Weekend Seminar. So this is the Mayor's Weekend Seminar in Sydney, which will give me an opportunity to liaise and work with other mayors. So would somebody like to, Councillor Ham? Councillor Benjamin, thank you. Councillor Ham?
I think it's excellent that you're giving of your time to go to this. Having just been to the Local Government Association meeting down in Albury on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, first one I've been to, it was absolutely excellent. And I learned a lot, met a lot of people, and hopefully shall improve my performance as a councillor. But people may have read in the local paper that there were some issues raised by residents from Snowy Valleys Council, re council amalgamation, and I think it would be pertinent if we had a report at the next council meeting, to address some of the issues that have been brought up with this issue. So if that could be done, I'd be most appreciative, as I think they will be as well.
Certainly there were some talk there, and I'm sure that on this weekend there'll be further discussion on that.
That'd be great.
So you're calling for a report as well?
Yes, please. That would be great.
General Manager?
Through the Chair, Councillor Ham, in the report we have to do a report to each council meeting and conferences we attend. We'll include some information about those resolutions in there and some options going forward. So that will come up to the next council meeting.
Terrific.
Thank you, Councillor Ham. Councillor Lara?
Can I just add to that too? I think it's important that council does make itself available to have a discussion with the community about some of those issues that are being raised, because I think a lot of it's being is incorrect information, and I don't think council has had an opportunity to allow any representation or feedback on behalf of us in regard to some of those inferences that are being made about our services and costs and those sorts of things. There's been a lot of what I would consider misinformation being put out there in the community about rate rises and staffing levels being decreased at Tumbarumba, which we all know is just rubbish. But I think we should have a meeting with the community and those that want to find out the truth about a lot of this misinformation, and we'd be happy to correct it, because as far as I'm concerned, this is working well, the councillors are working well, the staff are doing a great job, and I just think it's disappointing that our voice isn't being heard, and the community is concerned about what they're hearing.
Certainly, and I took the opportunity whilst in Albury to have quite lengthy conversations with some of the people down there, and it's valuable dialogue, and I was able to allay a lot of their fears, I believe. So it's also good to talk to people who I've only heard of and haven't met before. So yes, I agree with you. Anything further on that motion? Put the motion, all in favour? Okay, thank you. Takes us to government's financial reports. 9.1, donation and event sponsorship policies. 4 recommendations there. Councillor Larder, Councillor Cross. Councillor Larder.
No, I think this is just an excellent consolidation of how we do business, and you know, it essentially allows the community a roadmap to you know, get the best out of council for different sponsorship arrangements, and you know, provides clear guidelines for us and for the community about how to do that.
And if I'm able to speak to it,
Speaking for it,
still speaking for it. And well, really, just in saying that, I put quite a few changes through, and just to congratulate the staff that they were all putting much more succinctly than I put forward, and I really appreciate that it was taken on board.
Thank you, Councillor Hand. Thank you to the staff. Anything further? All in favour? Carried. 9.2, draft payment of expenses and provision of facilities for the Mayor and the Councillors policy. This will go out for 28 days. There's 4 recommendations there. Mover. Councillor Smith. Councillor Ham. Councillor Smith.
Yes, this is much as was presented in the draft, and so it's quite natural to pass this. There's one issue that hasn't yet been changed in this, and that is regarding the Mayor's car. I think that's something that we need to all support, and will be in the final submission of it.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Anything further? Motion, all in favour? Carried. 9.3, governance and financial reports. Councillor Hand. Councillor Benjamin.
So this economic development strategy is just great to see it all coming together so well. Very pleased that Brindabella Road's business cases up there, more industrial land, terrific. The Education and Business Centre of Excellence, which will combine the CUC, Country University Centre, is a terrific idea. I'd just like it broken down a bit, that we get on with the Country University Centre now and get that up and happening, and the infrastructure project that goes with the Education and Business Centre of Excellence may happen at a later time. So if they could be broken down into 2 parts,
Yes.
would be fantastic. A software centre of excellence in our area, where I'm not sure where that's to be, but terrific idea. And yes, certainly short-term accommodation is imperative, particularly with the if all goes well with the Snorri 2.0.
Yes, and I think also in the short-term accommodation there is a need for high-end accommodation as well.
Absolutely.
And that's something we're missing. There's a bit of it, but possibly not enough. So, thank you, Councillor Hand. Any other speakers? Put the motion, all in favour? Carried. Statement of investments. 1.4. Recommendation is the Council receives the statement of investments as of 30 September 2018. Mover. Councillor Larder. Seconder. Councillor Benjamin. Discussion. Councillor Larder.
I just moved the report, but just wonder if, just in regard to our income stream, whether we could get some sort of analysis to demonstrate that the rates haven't gone up 600%, which is some of the feedback I'm getting from residents, especially at the Tumbarumba end of the Shire. So, there's been a lot of misinformation about how council's responsible for rate increases since the changeover, around about 600%, which is just obviously, well, it's not in our control, obviously, but perhaps the director responsible could make some comments about that.
Yeah, if I may, through the
Yes.
chair, can advise that we can have a look at the rates where you believe that there's been some massive increases. We need to understand that across the board there haven't been any notable rate increases, but land values would naturally have risen and CPI increases happen as well. But we are happy to take a look at any significant rate increases and provide an analysis as to why.
Yeah. And they're obviously not as a result of us, it's the land value general that makes that arrangement. And if there has been rate increases, regardless of what the amount, it's not a council initiated response.
That's right.
The rate increase has only been the CPI.
It's rate cap, the rate cap.
Yeah.
It depends on what the rate cap was set at. Last year it was set at 2.3.
Three.
That's right.
So the value of general can change things, but that stays the same across the whole council. It only goes up 2.3. Okay. Any other further questions on that? Investment. I know there was a lot of discussion at Albury on the smaller banks. We'll wait to see what happens in that area. Yep. Motion all in favour? Carried. Thank you. 9.5, delegation of authority to sign statements by council on its opinion on the accounts for the 2017-18 annual financial statements. There's 5 recommendations there. Councillor Ham, Councillor Benjamin. Moving all 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, happy to do that. And particularly having been to the internal audit committee meeting last week, which was really informative. So, and I'm right in understanding that'll be a month to get that all presented to next month's meeting. Is that right? With the P&L and everything in it. That's great. I just have a bit of confusion here with the reserve balance changes. Just from the 31st of May balance at 6.8, and then suddenly it's on a month later it's down to 4.2. I'm sure there's good reason for it, but could I find out what that is?
Sorry, through the chair, I'll just refer that to the Chief Financial Officer.
Chief Financial Officer.
Through the chair, these reserve balances are as at 31st of May was when we amalgamated our finance system. We found that the Tumbarumba reserves, the reserve balances weren't funded by the cash balance that they brought over. When we did the financial statements, we found that we had no unrestricted cash, and these particular reserves need to be put together anyway, because they're double ups because of the former 2 councils having those reserves. So these were the ones that we looked at. We reported on this in this report because they're quite large changes.
Yeah, they are.
And normally reserve balances don't get changed unless they come to council. So we thought we'd better highlight these ones. And it also means that we've got around 2.5 million unrestricted cash at the end of last year. At the end of last financial year.
Last financial year. So that's at 2.5.
Yes.
It hasn't just evaporated, it's actually gone into cash.
Yep. So it's given us
Working.
flexibility about how that cash is restricted. Normally normally we'd like to have at least $2 million worth of unrestricted cash at any point in time. Yeah.
If I may, through the chair, we will be doing some more reports back to council during the year in regards to the reserve balances as we do some detailed third-party analysis of that. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion? We'll put the motion. All in favour? Carried. Ken Cabbage Shopfront, request for purchase. Once again, 5 recommendations there.
Happy to move all 5.
Thank you, Councillor Lara. Councillor Benjamin. Councillor Lara.
Oh no, this just seems to make logical sense to me, and it'll be a good opportunity for council and a good opportunity for whoever purchases the existing lots.
Anything further?
Are we good with the 20% to negotiate the sale price within 20% of the market appraisal? That should be a concern. Recommendation 4.
That's up or down?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Shouldn't be a problem.
I'm sure if it goes above 20%, we'll probably accommodate that as
Yep.
well.
Yep. That could be omitted. No, it's okay.
Thank you. Nothing further? Put the motion. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Manus Lake Blue-Green Algal Bloom Management Options. Councillor Ham. Councillor Benjamin.
So after last summer, when we did have the blue-green algae, we had a couple of public forums here in this building, and mainly residents from Tuma who were very affected by the blue-green algae. And it was great to have Dr. Simon, I can't remember his last name, who came and explained how the algae bloom came about and things like that. And to people who came to the final meeting, which wasn't very well supported because by that time the algae bloom had gone, but he explained that to have the right techniques to actually get rid of the algae bloom in the Manus Dam, it would be best to watch this for a year. And so we need a summer of just watching what happens. So, you know, we may have no blue-green algae this year, though I doubt it. But we will start testing from the beginning of November, a weekly test to see what's happening. So we can, one, keep public a lot better informed than we did last year because we didn't know what was about to happen. And there is a really strong possibility we will have blooms again, and it will restrict usage on the dam. But from that information, the public could be patient. For that information, then we can take steps to make sure, like we might get a mix from the dam or whatever to make sure it doesn't reoccur. So I would like to support these recommendations.
Thank you. Anything further? Just like to point out that the Tuma markets are on the 3rd of November, from 8 o'clock on. So we'll be able to discuss the algal bloom and what we're doing here. So we'll bring these reports along so we can discuss it there and get some feedback. Okay, put the motion. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Sale of surplus land parcels in Gilbert Street, Tumbarumba.
Happy to move all 6, but can I just make an amendment to point 4 and make that 40% of the market appraisal? I do that on the background of the very low risk to council. This has minimal development potential and is in fact not got a building right. So I think it's reasonable to adjust that figure to give you and the general manager the operational capability to dispose of these blocks.
Thank you, Councillor Lara. Can't see a career in real estate for you. Seconder.
Yes.
Councillor Smith. Thank you. Anything further on that? It's all fairly self-explanatory. Everyone familiar with where it is? Put the motion on, mate. Property boundary adjustment 40 to 44 Cromwell Street, Adelaide. Now there's eight recommendations there. The only thing I'd say before that is I would be happy that we share the cost of boundary fencing. That would be guided by councillors.
Is that not the norm?
No, not when councillors concerned.
Right.
I'd be happy to move all 8 and adjust number 5 to share the request for council to fund the construction of a new boundary fence.
50-50.
I'd be happy with that too.
So move it, second it. Mr. Christensen?
Mr. Mayor, if I can just make a suggestion, please, for operational purposes, in strengthening that, can we please delegate authority to the General Manager to negotiate the scope of the fence replacement?
Happy with it? Yeah, that's very sensible. Thank you, Mr. Christensen.
Boundary fence construction.
Thanks, Michelle. Councillor Lard, happy with it?
Yeah, no, I think it's something that we'd expect the ratepayers to do, so I think it's only right that, you know, for the adjoining property owners.
And I'm sure we do it on a case-by-case basis. Okay? Well, planning? This is planning? No. It's not planning. Put the motion, all in favour? It's carried. Brings us to minutes of the committees. And oh, sorry, we've got a late report. Move to the late report. No view of states. 10.2 under a separate cover. 3 recommendations. Councillor Benjamin. Councillor Lara. Councillor Benjamin.
I just reckon this is wonderful for the Tumbarumba region to have this ongoing snow view estate stage 3 commence. So it'd be nice to see it happen.
Any further? Councillor?
Just, it's a great estate. It was well set up by the former Tumbarumba Shire, and it's great to see that we're beginning to move on it and continue to have it grow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I commend the report, but and the recommendations. But having said that, I'd also like to see us develop a similar sort of strategy for other towns like Batlow, where there is a need for this sort of development as well. And I know we've previously spoken about it, but we probably need to see some positive movement in this area so that, you know, we can start to really kick goals in places like Batlow where there's a real need for new housing estates, and identify those land lots where they might be locked up at the moment that we could turn into possible future development.
So we've got a good model here to work from. So that's good. Okay, I'll put the motion, all in favour? It's carried. Committee meetings, page 79 in the hard copy. Just so a quick change to that first recommendation. There was no quorum at the minutes of the wetlands, so can we have that accept the record of discussion dash? So let's just have that rather than the minutes. Yeah.
You set the report on the minutes. Run through the chair.
Accept the report on the minutes, yeah.
And then the second part is accept the record of discussion.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So, the wetlands. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. I must must say they're looking fantastic. I was down there the other day, and it's a credit to the volunteers who do so much work down there. So, anything further on the wetlands? Any comments?
No, only I take it that the matters that are raised in there, like the high-vis equipment and that, would be taken up on an operational needs basis.
Thank you. Sure they will. Put the motion all in favour, accepting those minutes. Thank you. Moving on, the Youth Council minutes, 10th of October 2018. There's no recommendations in there other than that we accept the report and the minutes. Councillor Lala, Councillor Ham.
Can I just say, it's just tremendous to see that the Tumbarumba Youth Council and the Tumut Youth Council are both trying to do things together. I think that's just really admirable to see that begin to happen.
Thank you, Councillor Ham.
Good. I'll just make one further observation there that, and I don't know whether an approach has or hasn't been made, but one of the local youth from Chairman Harry Patero is actually on the a member of the
New South Wales.
New South Wales, but doesn't seem to have any buy-in or connection to ours. So I'm just wondering whether that could be addressed, because I think
different organisations, but yeah, it would be really good to bring a lot of those youth organisations together in a forum or something, so they can, rather than working as individual groups or a group.
Mr. Mayor, if I may add, I have discussed this with the Youth Council to ask them if they would like to invite Harry to come along to our meetings to give them information about what's happening, and I've also encouraged the Youth Council to think about becoming members of this advisory forum as well. So it is in train.
because it's pretty amazing that we've got a rep on that.
It's
a credit to Harry.
It is a credit to Harry, and he's an exceptional young man, so it's great to see. Okay. Did we put those? All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to Battler Development League. 3rd of October. Recommendations, same recommendations. Thanks, Councillor Smith. Councillor Ham. Councillor Smith.
Just to recommend that we accept those minutes, that's all.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add my apologies that I'm unable to come to the opening of the Literary Institute because it just sounds fantastic, and the James Bond theme sounds great, but more than anything else, the work that they've put into making that building really something needs to be acknowledged, and I wish them all the best for that evening.
Thank you, Councillor Ham. Convey that. All in favour? Carried. Festival Falling Leaf Committee minutes. Councillor Lada, Councillor Cross. Councillor Benjamin.
Through the chair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to add that through the minutes of the last meeting for the festival, the committee has mentioned that they would like to have a permanent PA system through the main street of Russell and Wynyard Street. I'm just currently in the process of trying to get quotes and scope of works happening at the moment with liaising with David Eisenhower and Scott Day and council staff. So hopefully we'll get that underway shortly.
Thank you. Nothing further? The motion, all in favour? Carried. Brings us to the end of the ordinary business payment. Now, would someone like to move that we go into confidential? Councillor Ham, Councillor Cross, all in favour? Thank you. Thank you, and welcome back. Call on the General Manager to report on the confidential section of our business plan.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In regards to the three items passed in confidential session, the first item on request for tender 2018/06 for the Riverlands Highlands building refurbishment, Council resolved that in accordance with section 55 of the New South Wales Local Government Act 1993, to accept the tender for adaptive interiors for the provision of services for the Riverina Highlands building refurbishment project for the lump sum of $518,063.18, including GST, to advise the unsuccessful tenderers in writing and to authorise the General Manager to enter into a contract with Adaptive Interiors for the provision of services for the Riverlands Highland building refurbishment project. In relation to the report 12.2, the Tumut car parking proposal, Council resolved 8 items for that matter. Firstly, to receive the report on the Tumut car parking proposal to acquire land. Secondly, to authorise the General Manager or Delegate to continue private negotiations with the owners of part of Lot 22 DP 1097085 and Part 2 DP 222218 Wynyard Street, Tumut, to purchase the land and private agreement up to the budget allocation. Part 3, in the event that no binding agreement has been entered into by November 12, 2018, for the purchase of Council of Part Lot 22 DP 1097085 and Part Lot 2 DP 22218 Wynyard Street, Tumut, collectively the acquisition of land. Council resolves to compulsory acquire any part of the acquisition land which is not the subject of the binding agreement for the purchase, and make an application, whether before or after November 12, 2018, to the Minister for Local Government for the Compulsory Acquisition Just Terms Compensation Act 1991 to compulsory acquire any parts of the acquisition of land which is not the subject of a binding agreement for the purchase. Part 4, Council authorise the General Manager or Delegate to write to the Minister for Local Government and the Chief Executive of the Office of Local Government to advise the Council's intention to compulsory acquire all or part of the acquisition of land in the event that no binding agreement to purchase any property forming part of the acquisition of land is entered into on or before November 12, 2018. Part 5, Council authorise the General Manager or Delegate to undertake such works as is necessary to obtain the required approvals or agreements from the relevant state or Crown authorities to compulsory acquire all parts of the acquisition of the land. Part 6, Council delegate any administrative or incidental functions to the General Manager or Delegate in order to implement the above resolutions. Part 7, Council acknowledge the avoidance of doubt that nothing in this resolution prevents Council from continuing negotiation with the proprietors of all or parts of the acquisition of land after November 12, or an application has been made to the Minister for Local Government and the Governor pursuant to Part 12 for the compulsory acquisition of all parts of the acquisition land. And Part 8, endorse the placement of Council seal on the contract of sale. In regards to the third item in confidential, request for tender 2018/14 Tumbarumba Caravan Park Camp Kitchen, Council resolved in 6 parts to receive the report on the assessment for tender RFT 2018/14 for the Tumbarumba Caravan Park Camp Kitchen. Part 2, resolve in accordance with clause 1783 of the New South Wales Local Government General Regulation 2005 not to accept any tender for the Tumbarumba Caravan Park Camp Kitchen project. Part 3, resolve in accordance with clause 1783F of the New South Wales Local Government General Regulation 2005 to carry out the requirements of the proposed contract itself. Part 4, to resolve in accordance with 178(4)B of the New South Wales Local Government General Regulation 2005 not to invite fresh tenders, noting that it's considered inviting fresh tenders would not enable the Council to achieve its objectives for the project. Part 5, advise the tenderers in writing that their tenders were not accepted. And Part 6, authorise the General Manager to enter into a contract with contractor for the subject to the successful outcome of negotiations.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde. This concludes our meeting.